Hey, it's Mike Linkenoker, and welcome to the Coach and Mike Friends podcast. The podcast is a place full of real conversations with real people and real experiences. As I sit down with others, there's going to be no script, no filter. Whether we're talking about life, sports, win, losses, or lessons learned, there won't be perfect answers, just honest conversations and a few laughs along the way. So sit back, get ready to hear a story or two, settle in, and let's get into it. This is this week's episode of the Coach Mike and Friends podcast. And welcome to the Coach Mike and Friends podcast. I'm yours truly, Coach Mike Linkenoker, if you don't know me. If you do, congratulations. It's been one of the greatest meets you ever had in your life. Kidding. But here I just want to share out, hey, this is the first episode. This is awesome. We're here. We're finally. Why did it take me so long? Why are you finally here? Why are you talking? What's your why behind all this? It starts out probably about a few years ago. I really wanted to get into it after I got out of coaching. I thought, hey, this is something I should do. And I never had the courage to do it, never had the time to do it. And I feel like I have the courage and the time, a little bit of combination now to do it. It's just something I kind of been asked from people to, hey, I think it's time to do it. And I just took their advice and moved on with it. So this first episode is going to be interesting. I'm trying not to really edit much. Try not to, throw out scrippies or filters. As always, that's my goal, to make it full-time, not that. But my why is that I had a conversation yesterday with someone, and they told me that you've always had the position of wanting to be served, like be serving others. Just kind of how I was up in the coaching realm. I was always wanting to serve, always make other people better in their life. Young men, women, whoever I had the opportunity to at the time. And I think I just want to continue that in this platform that I have, but more in a retrospect of, here I am wanting to get other opinions from other people, wanting to know, hey, what's going on in that brain? Just like I said in the intro, this place is going to be full of life experience conversations about wins and losses, just not in sports, but just general in life. I think this is something we all need to listen to. I think we're going to be better for that when I get different people on. There could be sometimes I might not like this person, but man, they just said something really amazing that that's pretty good. And it can change my whole outlook on them. It can change my whole outlook on things I think about of that certain topic. And I hope it does the same for you too. It's a pretty good blessing when that happens. It's kind of a little shocking, a little feeling. So, I don't know. I don't know how this journey is going to go. I'm really pumped up for it. Really going to try to figure out what all we can do. I do have some stuff today for this first episode, for this wonderful Friday episode. And I think we're going to get real into it. My first segment is going to be a little bit sportsy. If I always talk about sports, I'm always going to try to tag in my best friend, Zach Simple. He is going to tag in along, and we're going to discuss, hey, what's going on in the world of sports right now, and what can we go by? I've always appreciated his sports analogy, his love for sports, and just what he has his opinion on with it. I call him the white Stephen A. No, not really. He ain't that bad. But to go forward, might even ask him a little bit of other segment talk. We'll just have to find out. But we'll do that, not weekly with him. Might just tag it along with the person that's on as a guest. If I never can find anybody, then boo-hoo on me. And we'll just try to figure out each episode as it goes on. But I'm proud of this. I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel like I had a little bit of pride in it. I don't do anything without pride and confidence. Sometimes those are hard to come by. Like I said, I'm pretty pumped up to do it. And I'm encouraged that others are also for me. That does help if you don't realize it sometimes. So we'll have that segment because, hey, this week is Super Bowl. We got the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots for that Super Bowl. Joy. in old Santa Clara, home of Levi Stadium and home of the 49ers. But the next segment we'll have, going to bring up a hot topic that I personally deal with on the daily. And I used to deal with it on daily, now from time to time. But I'll share my opinion, and maybe you'll get something out of it. And when I get somebody on, you'll see how I ask those type of questions too. Third, I'm going to bring out my segment of Brewin Thoughts. If you noticed before the time, if you've been on my TikToks, you've been on my Facebooks and everything, that you've realized that I have made the Up to Something Brewing. Kind of took it from McAfee, and a little bit more on McAfee I'll go on later in another hot topic. But where that came from is where he has Up to Something Season. I was like, let me figure out something, and I went to Up to Something Brewing. So I've stole a bit from him. Sorry, Pat. And if he ever watches this in real life, holy crap, that'd be awesome. But going off that, I have a segment called Brewin Thoughts. I've shared some stuff on Facebook and on TikTok of what people would like me to talk about. And we'll take that session and those thoughts, and I'll share what I have for it to share. Besides that, again, I'm pretty pumped. I'm glad you're here to sit back and relax and just enjoy these next few minutes that you're going to have with me on this podcast. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how to explain that. I'm full of pride that I'm making this an opportunity for myself, but for others to maybe get something out of it. So, hope you all have a great evening. I hope you're having a good morning, whatever time you're listening to this to. God bless you. Coach Mike loves you. Let's have a great episode. Hey, what's up? So, this would be kind of the portion where I might have a guest, but we're going to take it just you, myself, and I. So, sit back and enjoy what we're about to do right here. I kind of wanted to bring out a hot topic, a hard topic, sometimes a topic nobody doesn't really want to talk about. And I thought it'd be a good way to kind of start out the podcast, episode 1. Something that not recently I've dealt with, but something that I continue to deal with from time to time. But more about 3 or 4 years ago, it really hit me hard. So I think that I'm going to share what that word is. I'm going to get it kind of going, and we'll see where it goes. So that word, if you're kind of wondering, what could the word be? What's it going to be about? It's going to be the word grief. Yeah, I said it. The word grief. You hear that and you're kind of like, what? Grief? Why are we talking about that? We don't talk about that. You don't talk about grief. Well, maybe we should. Maybe we all more should talk about our grief, because it might help us sometimes. You know, immediately you think of grief, you think of death. And that's kind of where I am going to go with this, is death. But there also is some other ways that we deal with grief that you might just not understand or have a thought of. But in my situation, I'm going to give you my backstory and my why of how grief has kind of dealt with me over the years. And when I talk about my story, I don't mean nothing harsh to nothing or nobody with this whatsoever. I just think at the time, some people thought that was the best thing. And I still think it's sometimes the best thing, that how it happened. If you didn't know, I lost my mother, my adoptive mother. My mom, my best friend, my first best friend I ever had. Lost her at the wonderful age of 7. She died April 26, 2002. And, Lord behold, she's still, watching over me and everything. But when she died, I've come to realize just recently when I had another death in the family, that I wasn't truly allowed to grieve. Not purposely. I think they just wanted me to continue with life and everything was going to be normal. Everything's going to be perfectly fine. And I think I didn't have a personal body lesson. I don't know if that's the right wordage. But I didn't have a right lesson of how to grieve as a young kid. I just watched people die and move on. That's just how I dealt with it. I would have one day of crying, one day of grieving, and I'd move on with life. And that's how I continued to do it for all the big deaths I've ever had in my life. I would probably cry at the funeral, and I'd move on, maybe cry like every so often if I heard a song or something, or if I thought of a memory, or when it got kind of close around the time, I'd probably shed some moments and have a tear or two. And then I moved on. And I thought that was appropriate. I thought it was appropriate that it was okay to move on and not bring up any grief in your life. I just thought that was simple. It was okay. And, it wasn't. It's not okay to grieve and move on from death. It can build up in you a whole lot. And it sucks. Trust me, it sucks. It really sucks to build that all up. Just because when my uncle passed away, they gave me a whole new line of grief. Whole new line. It was as they call, can of whoop. Can of whoop. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, hit me like a ton of rocks, like a big old brick wall. They call me a brick wall. Well, I got that brick wall right on me. And it sucked. Like, it was days after days. I could be driving in the car and I shed a tear or two. Every other day. And I just kept asking myself, why? Why is this happening to me? Normally I can move on, get from it, etc. And there is some other factors into it, of course. There absolutely was. But I think I've gotten to an older self and I just, had no idea about it. That it's not right to move on from it. And it took me some time to get over it, to get through it, to get through that grief. And I think that the biggest lesson I learned from it is that, it's all right to grieve. Don't make it a necessary thing to do. But it's okay for those moments to come have it. So I'm going to break away from that and kind of go like, I love ChatGPT, and I know we're going to have so many water crises to ChatGPT. I don't do it every day. I just do it when I try to get a different answer besides Google. Okay? For all you, it takes 1 or 2 liters, whatever. I'm sorry. I just enjoy it. So that's the point. There's a little thing I looked that says, grief is a gap between what was and what should have been. Another bullet point it says is you can miss something that never fully existed. And then also says grief doesn't always break you down. It sometimes changes your posture. And that's pretty legit. And it did change my posture. It changed my way, how I was thinking. What was I doing? It changed somewhat the person I was. I just wasn't my happy old self, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. It bothered me, and it's okay that it bothered me, for sure. But even more, it says right here, grief can be quiet. It shows up in moments, and this isn't how I imagined it, or when you realize you're carrying disappointment longer than you expected. And I did have a lot longer disappointment moments, not due to me, but some other things, of getting caught in the middle of some things. And I think that's fine and that's okay, Dan. So now to kind of end the death part of the whole situation, of what we're talking about, I'm going to go over a poem that I read it when I get to these type of moments, and that it puts me at calm, it puts me at ease. So I hope it does the same thing for you. And if you'd like to reach out in the comments and say, hey, can you send that poem? I'll be more than glad to. And it goes like this. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking through the streets beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you with something better than words or sounds. Look for me in people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me the most. You can love me the most by letting hands touch hands and by letting bodies touch bodies. I'm going to repeat that again. You can love me the most by letting hands touch hands and by letting bodies touch bodies and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when we all that's left of me is love, give me away. Let me repeat that again. And I told you, this is unfiltered, unedited. So you're going to enjoy this out of mic. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Again, it always brings me a sense of calmness and peaceness when I read that, knowing that's just how I think the people in my life that have passed away would deal with stuff like that. Is to let things be, find me in the sky, put me through your eyes, and just hold on to each other in those type of moments. So another way and around that I've thought about, hey, what can this really be? Like, what other stuff do you have that you can grieve about? First thing, of course, is, there's relationships. You have an emotional breakup. You have a friendship that they kind of went for no reason, or maybe partial reason to you or partial reason to them. And sometimes that sucks when you grieve over that stuff, that, oh, my friend's not around anymore. And I hate that for people. I've experienced it myself, and I know many others have probably experienced it too. That, hey, I wonder how that friend's doing, but, kind of grieving on that you can't talk to him or anything. The other kind of way I would, think about it is a lot of times when we fail, we grieve about it. You don't think about it, but we do. Losing the thought of failure that, you're not able to do anything anymore. You're not getting to that goal, that dream, because you failed. Well, first of all, I don't trust anybody who doesn't think they shouldn't fail. There's been a lot of people in the world that failed, and they're billionaires, for goodness sakes. So they've had to do a lot of failing to get to where they are. And that's going to take a lot in, the business standpoint, money standpoints. And we're going to take it to a personal standpoint that you are going to fail and you're going to grieve over it. But you're going to get yourself picked, dust up, as they all say, grab you by the back of your neck and get yourself up and going. Okay? The other thing I kind of want to touch on is a lot of people grieve about times they wish they still had. Like, man, I would love to still be back in high school, college time, and, going over certain things of life with that. Don't grieve over it. Sit back, enjoy, talk about the good times, but good golly, don't grieve over it. That's not fun. That's not cool. That's not good. Another thing, health and ability. You can kind of grieve over like, whoop, I personally, I've lost some weight. Did I grieve a little bit over, what I've done, to gain back and everything? Absolutely. And on to that too, grief and depression don't go hand in hand, but they kind of go over each other. They might touch at some point. And it kind of did there too in my aspect. So I don't know what else to really say with those different things without, getting other topics not topics, but other opinions from others on it. Just know that it's okay. It's okay to grieve. One line that I'm going to read off ChatGPT that I probably could have gotten off some Google thing is, when grieving ends, shifts, and realizations happen, it's going to be okay because no one tells us when we're allowed to mourn. That's what I felt like happened to me when I was younger, when I was 7 years old. Not that I wasn't allowed, but they just didn't make it happen. They just continued life like it was nothing. And that's fine. I will never, ever, ever say I hated that. That's just how life was. That's just how it happened. But as I got older, I realized I didn't get that opportunity. And it's nothing to my dad's fault. It's nothing to any of my aunts, my grandmother, my uncles, other close family members or friends. None of their faults whatsoever. It's just what they were. That's just what they did. And that is fine. I am who I am. And not even because of that. It's just mentally absorbing all this in one. I wasn't allowed to mourn and grieve. Personally. Not did it get pushed on me like, no, you can't do that. No, not whatsoever. But I just didn't get that opportunity as a kid. And I think it kind of affected me longer on in life, in good and bad ways. But it got to the point where it all got inside. I hated it. And it poured me out. it really lost a little of my confidence. I lost it, and that's kind of what I am. And I thought I could handle it, and I couldn't. And I had to reach out and talk to other people, talk to, specialists about all this stuff. It's just how it is. So, I know it wasn't a lot. I know it wasn't, I could probably dig more into it another time, another episode, another day. But as always, if you want to talk about it more, reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to talk about how I felt through those times. And again, I kind of want to say it also. Again, my mourning of not being allowed has nothing to do with family, has nothing to do with friends. It's just something they knew at the time was going to be what was best. And it did come out to be what's best. I'm not mad about that at all, never will I will be. I'm just saying that I never got that opportunity to mourn as a younger kid. Just moved on. Went to school literally that day or the next day and acted like everything was normal. Again, I'm not mad. I'm not pissed off that happened. Seriously, I'm not. It's just something I had to understand and grow with myself and realize, hey, this is what's happened. And it's perfectly fine and okay. And now I have a better understanding how to deal with my grief and how to deal with that little bit of depression that comes along with it. So, enjoy the next segment. It'll be about the sports, a little something happier, a little bit something better. And again, I appreciate y'all just sitting back, relaxing, and going over what grief is to me and what maybe you can get something out of this or not. And if you want to chat back, reach out. Be more than glad to. Thanks. And now we're on to the Brewin Thoughts part of the show, the episode, the podcast. Literally, I had the idea of this. I just never had a title. And literally that day I made that picture, that post, that morning heading to work, I thought, let's combine that together and make it Brewin Thoughts. So I'm going to continue that. I don't have coffee. I have the wonderful drip drop water. I like this better than liquid IV. It tastes better. I just like it better. I drink this a lot, okay? I got to stay hydrated a lot. So first we're going to start our cheers. And something, I'll say this. Drinks taste better out of a mason jar. Simple as that. Easy as that. Drinks taste better out of a mason jar. And if you do not agree with that, I have two words for you. Mason jar. So, the first Brewin thought is comes from Mr. Joey Lilly. And he wanted to talk about NBA management, load management, actually. And, my first thought is this. It sucks. You hear I watched, literally he asked that question about a day or two later. I saw again the video where Jordan's like, I would never done load management. He talked about when he was younger, and I think he said he was a rookie or it was his second year. And this guy said, sit down, young fella, because he twisted his ankle and said, no, I got to prove something. You probably don't see load management with guys trying to prove themselves anymore. That's probably still a thing. But I think just what kills me is there's some guys that will take a night off. I totally understand that there should be probably a, they should probably take 10 minutes less or 15 minutes there. I think that should happen. I think that's fine. Barkley and all the other guys that were back in the day, they think that stuff is crazy. And as you all probably just heard, Roxy Rue drinking water. Again, this is unfiltered, unedited. I'm not going to redo this. But they really thought that, there shouldn't be a thing anymore. Well, I believe the body has changed since back then. There's more athletic guys. There's more athletic people. They're bigger monsters. They're more human than what they used to be. More monster as they used to be. So I feel like the load management is a little bit of a BS term to save money. Also, I just don't really have too much of a topic of it. This because sadly I think it's became something of the norm, and it shouldn't be. Because just like Jordan said, there's guys that pay those like $200 seats way up top just to come to see you play. They specifically bought those seats to come watch you play. And I hope a lot of people take favor of that comment. And it seems like it kind of has here lately. But then the next Brewin Thoughts is comes from Kara Ramsey, my sister-in-law. She asked about what kind of, from the cup that I had, Stanley, Yeti, whatever. Girl, I don't have a choice. But what I really like, that cup right there cost me $3. That mug cost me $3 from the Dollar General. And it keeps my coffee warmer than two baby goats cuddling together under a fire. So I think if you're going to go looks, you're of course going to go with the Stanley. If you want to go with, more rough style, you're going to go with the Yeti. If you want to go a little bit cheap and still do the same thing, I think the Ozark from Walmart is just as great. I think it really just depends on what the trend is, man. It always is. Those are trends. Water bottles are the trends. And this is how we do a lot of things in life, is trends. So I think that's what you ought to go with, is what trend is going to be best for you. What bottle is going to look good for you at work, what's going to be the best way possible for that. And as Miss Roxy Brew is behind me now, wagging that tail. Yeah, girl. You want some brewing thoughts on this, Rocks? So there's that. The next thought is from my dear friend Devin. He asked, what McDonald's should I go to? And now Stella is taking drinks of water. But asked, what McDonald's should I go to in Charleston? Well, let's put it this way. The McDonald's in Charleston, whatever show you need for entertainment that day, is probably the best one you should go to. Personally, probably the one by the Capitol does have a show every so often. And what I mean show is I mean by like people that are there. And I'm not going to be very hypocritical, but you all should probably understand what I mean. And it could be sometimes there's a nice show down at the far end of Canal City, by the IHOP and the Go Mart. And then you have the one right beside the hospital. So it really just pleases your soul which one. They're all not bad. They're not all great top tier, but they're all not, the best either. I think they're very worth a solid 6. And sometimes they might get an 8 if that Sprite tastes a little bit extra Spritey. Okay? If you know what I mean. So there's that topic. Devin, great talk on that one. My last topic comes from Luke Vass. And I'm glad somebody said this, and I've always kind of wanted to dive into it, is that I think right now what the landscape looks for football, basketball, and baseball, but especially for football, it's just going to look different. And I think what people need to understand is this. Right now, money is winning stuff. And if we're supposed to have, but I think our landscape is just something that we need to have a realization that college football playoff is what we want to get to. Are we trying to get to that? Absolutely. I have full faith that we are. We brought in Ren Baker because the man knows how to get donated money. He just does. He's had a proven track record of it. But he's just a genuine nice guy. He gets the people. He understands the people of us. I think he understands the outside people. And I also think and agree he works really well with politics. He can politic it very well. And I respect that. And I think others need to understand and respect that also. But I don't know. I want to be so positive and hopeful for the future. But a lot lately with Mountaineer sports, I don't try to be hopeful. I just try to hope that, hey, or not even hopeful. I just let's find something good today. Like right now, watching the game, and I think right now it's on a commercial, but we're down by 4. Earlier, we were down by 13 or 16. So that's how it really goes. Has he handled every situation right since he's been here? Absolutely. He absolutely has. He's done everything right possible, especially with baseball. I think we can do a little bit more in baseball. I am looking really forward to the season. If you all don't know, I really keep track with the baseball team. It's as simple as that. I have more of a love for that. And that can be another day, another story. But it's not that I don't have confidence. I have 1,000% confidence in what the sports landscape for WV is going to be like. I think it's going to be great. I just think when you have realization that, hey, it could be not great again. We could have another bad year in football. I don't want that to happen, but it could happen. Not a bad year. I think we can make a bowl game again next year. I don't think that's going to be another issue. I just think that, and especially with basketball, you just have basketball can be more momentumly. I think we could be okay next year. I think we got a chance to make it, to dance this year. We'll just keep winning and maybe win a game that we're not supposed to have. So there's that. But again, I think that we all just have to understanding that we're not going to win a national championship like next year. If we do, by all means, I will go back to this video and I will say I was wrong. Well, I say we entered the college football playoff. I can't have confidence on that. I would love to have confidence on that. A big issue when I was coaching is I always had confidence that, hey, we're going to win. We're going to win today. We're going to do this and that. The moment you lose that little bit of confidence is the moment you've lost everything in the team. And I'm just in hopes that my thoughts are different. I really am. So that's my hot take on that. I wish I could talk a little bit more about it. And I think, this question of the WVU landscape will get brought up back again tons of times. It'll probably get asked to guests and everything else of what their opinion might be on that. It's going to continue to be a hot, steamy topic, a very Brewin Thoughts topic, as you hear my dog Dan cough his lung out. So, cheers to that. I'm telling you, I'm keeping it no filtered. I'm not editing anything. I'm not stopping stuff. I'm not deleting it. I'm trying to keep it filtered as possible. So, a little Brewin Thoughts. I think it was good, not bad. I might try to get a topic out and people share their opinion of it and I'll go with it. Figured to have a little bit more. But again, we'll do a little overview. NBA load management. Silliness, but I get it. Understand it. Wish I can kind of flip the page with it. Do a little bit differently. And I think they have. I really think they've tried. Second question on the water bottle. Water bottles are trendy. If you want to stay trendy, cool. If you want to have my $3 bottle that I got at Dollar General on a freaking fall sale for another 75% off, great. Works just as good. It stayed warm all the way until about 11, 12 o'clock. That's really when my kind of idea of time when my coffee should be done is before I have lunch, especially in that big old mug. And, as I said, WVU and all the hoping now, it is now 42-40 WVU. And then on the McDonald's topic, again, we can go very far on that of the entertainment section of McDonald's here in Charleston, West Virginia. But I highly recommend continue to just go through the drive-thru, get that McDouble and a very extra spicy Sprite, and life will be good for you. And then my last topic of the overview is the WVU landscape in the future. I'm going to say this again. Ren Baker was the best thing that's happened to WVU in a very long time. When he got hired, I was extremely excited, pumped up for him. Met the man a couple times. Met him down there at Clemson. Shook his hand when me and Zach went to the baseball game. And just a cool dude, relaxed, calm, collective. And again, he plays the political card great, which we all need in that higher up. He has saved a lot of stuff, I think, for us. And he's doing a lot of great things. And if there's an award he could get every year, he would earn it every year. Very well earned, very well honored. And like I said, he actually cares. He gives two craps. And you could tell. And not that, I can't think of his name right now. Saved my life. WV Boy 2. Not that he didn't care either. Shane Lyons. Not that he didn't care either. But you could tell from Twitter and some other things that was being said, and even from some higher ups of WVU, that there's some stuff going on that he could have just done it, but he didn't want to do it. But yeah, again, that was our review of what we've gone with over. Hopefully next time I might have a guest to talk about it, or might have to do another round of share my thought and opinion of something, and you all tell me what you feel. We'll go that way. So, cheers. And this episode of this segment was brought to you by Drip Drop. I'm telling you, this stuff's good. And always forget, when you drink out of a mason jar, always not forget, I'm sorry, bad wording. Don't forget, the best way to drink anything is out of a mason jar. So the next segment you're about to get is the sports segment. Again, if I had somebody on the show, I'd probably be, talking to them about sports too. But whenever I don't have anybody on the show, I'm probably just going to try to tag him in or somebody in that I know to talk a little more about sports. It's really hard to talk sports sometimes by yourself. It's always good to have another opinionated around it. Again, you'll see in the video that it took us about 5 rounds because the first app we used, I thought it was recording, and it was recording our voices, and it was not. So, joy on that part. So, as you're seeing now, my lights that I have are now dead. So, yeah. Again, unfiltered, unscripted. But sit back and relax. The little sports talk we talked about NBA trade deadline, and we talked about the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Seahawks. So sit back, enjoy, relax. It's going to be a goodie. All right. Folks, if you will not know, but this is round 2, 3, 4, and 5 of trying to figure this out. Like I've said before, this is unscripted, unfiltered of the Coach Mike and Friends podcast. We did one earlier. It was about 30 minutes long, and realized that the microphone, even so said that it was on, did not work. So currently using a different app right now, and it's working out very well. We've tested it, so yippee on that one. So I want to introduce my friend, Mr. Devin Pring. Earlier in the video I did earlier with him, I was going to get my buddy Zach Simple in this, but something happened. Couldn't get him to come on. He had something to do, so Devin is tagged in. And earlier we had big discussion, and I'm going to use that word earlier a lot probably, about 3 hot topics right now. And of course, it's Super Bowl weekend. We have that coming up with the Seahawks and the Patriots. And then we have the NBA trade deadline, and that is up more your alley. Like I did earlier, we went on a different whole not really a rabbit hole, but we went down a good old lean way of a first take type of talk, of going down what was, well, not really first take, probably more like Get Up on ESPN, of what all the trade line was. But what we kind of talked about earlier, your big thing was with all these trades, your biggest one earlier was about the Wizards, and you thought that was the best trade that was happening.
Yeah, once again, thanks for having me. And I would say the Wizards are playing the long game. I think it's quite impressive how the Wizards have been able to manage their assets under this new management they've had for a few years. Because you got to think about it, they have Anthony Davis, Trey Young, Alex Sarr. They still got a plethora of young dudes like Belil, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson. I mean, this is a roster that can compete. I don't think it's obviously at a place where it can get a ring, but I do think they are currently sitting in a playoff spot next year. And I think they have enough assets that they could go over something really well or just work with what they have. I mean, they have a couple of guys on this roster that I could see being all stars in 4 to 5 years, such as Sar or Keyshawn George or Balil. Whenever one of those young guys steps up next to Sar, I could see this team being really deadly in the future.
You said ring, and the only like the first thing that brings up in my head is the only time I remember like the Wizards getting close to anything of a ring is literally like with Gilbert and Antoine Jameson and Carson Butler, or not Carson, but Kareem Butler. Did I say it right? Kareem, yeah. Is that the right first name for him?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
We'll go with it.
So yeah. So that whole crew right there, that's the last time I remember them like, being anything close to that. You had your Bradley Bills, you had your John Wall with Gotart, um, the beautiful ball headed man. I mean, you had your periods with that, but I mean, when was the last time they like even like were even NBA champion when they were the Bullets? Probably.
Yeah, I think the last time they won a championship was with like Elvin Hayes in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. So, and then the next trade we were talking about, it kind of, with one of them was the Jared McCain trade, and how, like how everybody says, and even you said it, the rich gets richer, and that, that was a great trade and for easy money. Like that did not hurt anybody with that trade.
Yeah, I mean, they have basically just pocket change of draft picks they can just throw at anyone and get virtually any player they want. Jerry McCain fits perfectly into the OKC culture, their timeline. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say there. I think it'll be a lot better of a place for him to develop as opposed
Yeah.
to Philadelphia with their issues. Not that nothing against their development necessarily. 'Cause Tyrese Maxey's looking well, but I think McCain will do better in that role at OKC, a more winning culture.
And and
So
and and kind of like we were bringing that up, like we're gonna take that right there, and like I said earlier, from with Paul George, that whole stuff right there with all those picks started with Paul George, and we take that and look what they have now. Like the Clippers have not done a thing. Somehow the Thunder took all that and won a ring, and like I said earlier, they literally bet on themselves. They high risk reward it, and they got the reward. And it's crazy. Like you've never seen anything like that with any league, NFL, base. I mean, kind of maybe in baseball a little bit, but that's just more of like not spending as much money as they want to spend, I guess, per se. But I think you want to take that. Um, I don't know how many other teams are wanting to mimic what the Thunder has done, because again, that was a huge risk and reward. So, I mean, do you see out of this trade, and I'm glad we're talking about it now, that is there any teams trying to mimic that idea?
I think you could argue the two teams that come to mind with like just getting a plethora of young dudes together. The two that come to my mind is obviously I think the Spurs have done a very similar thing.
Yeah,
Theirs obviously wasn't as strong early on. I mean, I think the oldest tenured player is Keldon Johnson, and he was drafted. It was 2018, 2019. It was the same year as Zion. It was the same year as Zion. I don't. It's 2018 or 19. But yeah, Keldon Johnson's the oldest tenured Spur. But other than that, like they've put a great core of young dudes together. Vassell, Dylan Harper, obviously Wembayama, Stephen Castle. I think they've done something very similar. And the other team I would mention that they're not as successful with it yet, but it's really coming together because they got 4 rookies this year. Is the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, they've put together a really good young core.
yeah, and you were
That
bringing
and
that up
this
earlier about
trade, they got
how,
Kobe White.
yeah, you were bringing that up earlier, like how the Bulls are just getting rid of everything too, and
Yeah,
Kobe
Bulls have
White's
finally
back
blown
home.
it up.
Yeah, I think people have been begging for that out there. I really do. I think,
Absolutely. I have a Bulls fan that's a really good friend, and he was more than tickled that Vucci Main was off the roster. Not that he's bad, it's just he has no purpose being there.
yeah,
You only
and
have
I think,
35-year-old center on that team.
yeah, and I think he's been like on the trade market forever. Like, I think he's been on there for like the last 3 or 4 years and just never got rid of him.
Yeah.
I think another trade that again we didn't talk about earlier much because it was kind of stupid. I mean, I don't know, it's not stupid, but we'll see what happens. is the Harden trade. And I even told you earlier, I hated that if anybody got traded is Garland. He generally, I think, cared with that team and loved them and cared about all his, the guys he played with, and you could see it and off a video I saw on X that like he was shedding some tears saying goodbye to some guys, and that's part of the business life of all that, and it sucks. It really does suck, but I just don't see like I don't see how that team needed another score. I don't watch basketball enough to know that, or at least watch NBA constantly every day. I usually see it on Sports Center and catching ups on that. But you would think Devin Mitchell would be enough of a score, and then all his other assets.
I do see the benefit as to why they trade for Harden. I do think in general it was a bad trade, but I think one of the advantages to Harden is he does play. Garland does have availability issues. I do think Garland was a better timeline though with Donovan Mitchell, and I think they had good chemistry. But I think James Harden will do a lot more. I think he'll be a lot better in terms of the mesh because James Harden doesn't have to do the playmaking that he did on the Clippers. Because
Yeah.
he's just better as a pure scorer. Even though he's out of his
Well,
prime, the man can still score like crazy.
well, yeah, and like the way you even said that, he was super. His best years is when he played with Chris Paul. And Chris Paul set him up a lot for things. Um, and I think that's a whole other story
That was
too.
a team, man. That
Yeah,
was the team. Chris Paul, Harden, Ariza,
yeah. If they all
Capella.
if Chris didn't get hurt, what a difference that might have been. They probably would have. I still think that they would probably have beaten the Warriors. That would have been all them right there. How
Could have
far back?
definitely happened.
How far back was that? Is that about 9, 10 years ago?
Man, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Now talking about the Warriors, that's something we didn't talk about earlier. Is um Chris? He's one of my favorite players, and I can't say his last name right now. Um,
Yeah, Porzingis. Porzingis
yeah,
is a
went to the
Warrior, and
Warriors.
Kaminga finally got traded.
I
The guy
just
that the
wonder.
Warriors never played finally left the roster.
I just wonder, like, in that big of a thing, is that are they trying to set themselves up again to win? Like, I mean, I just don't understand that. Like, so explain further if you're in your NBA brain why make that trade whenever like is that a win trade? Like, hey, we want to win another championship this year with Steph. Like, are they treating it like it's their last opportunity to win with Steph, or why, or is that some type of future pick?
I'll be honest, I'm not really entirely sure what the purpose of the trade was other than to get off of Kaminga. That was just probably one of the offers they could find for him, which I don't know. I get there's a lot of gray area on Kaminga's potential, but it doesn't really make sense to me. It is obvious Golden State needs a big man. That is their huge issue. But the two big things for me here is number one, they're definitely not going to compete this year. Their best bet's to wait for Butler to return next year and see however he does off
Butler
of his
sounded like a
ACL
Max
injury.
Steel or something, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's on a max deal. I don't remember how much longer it is, but yeah, to
What?
my knowledge, I
Yeah,
think they have him locked.
yeah, that's what I thought.
But
That's what I thought.
and the other issue is Porzingis is just not the big man they needed. He's gotten better on defense over the years, but I wouldn't say he's anything they needed.
No.
They don't even need like a big name center. They just need like a solid anchor, someone like in the realm of like I don't know, like the guy just got traded to the Pacers, Zubac. I think Zubac would be a great addition. The
Well,
Walker Kesslers of the world, someone that can really just own the paint because
well,
the Warriors just don't have that.
and like I think back when they were great, and they always had that guy like David West, Spikes. I can't think of another couple ones that are in that realm. But
Kevin
like,
Looney,
yeah. I forgot about him. And then they had Wiseman, and he was great. And then he was bad, all that type of deal. He just got hurt or whatever. But like the other thing I think about that though is like I thought when Miles Turner left the Pacers, I didn't think the Bucks was going to be the pick. I really thought he'd go to the Warriors. I thought that'd be the bet either between the Pacers and the Warriors. I thought he would fit with the Warriors perfectly to their scheme.
Yeah, I agree. I think Miles would have been a good fit. Definitely a much better fit than Porzingis.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think the dream center I would put in Golden State would be someone around like I think Gobert. Gobert would be phenomenal for a Golden State system.
Yeah.
Even like the Embiids of the world, they just need someone that can sit in the paint.
Yeah. Because it's always opened a lot. Well, people don't realize too, and I think my basketball brain's going to kind of kick in gear here a little bit. Is they did run a lot of stuff up top from the high foul line post and stuff. They did a lot of stuff right there during the games. They set up a lot of stuff. Not every play, but they did a lot of stuff right there where they would throw somebody up in the middle and they'd play ring around the rosy and they try to figure out some passing lanes. Um, and and
Yeah, Green was kind of like an early point forward for them.
Yeah, yeah, and still is, and as long as he keeps his mouth shut and not gets technical. But and that's a whole. I mean, to me, honestly, and I said this a few weeks ago to someone. Draymond Green is my Rasheed Wallace of the world, of my time frame of like great role player, won a championship. I mean, he is a superstar. I mean, I don't know. He's in that middle of superstar role player, and and I say it as Rasheed too. That's kind of what Rasheed was. He was a big time guy for Portland, and then he went to the Pistons and became kind of that middleman for him. And that they won that one champ. Did they win one or two championships?
He won one, yeah, it's just the '04.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Draymond Green is one of those guys, and I would say Gobert, though Draymond Green to a much bigger aspect since he has a lot more accolades in terms of like, well, no, they're not comparable accolade wise. He just didn't have the rings, but there are two people that often get clowned a lot these days, especially Draymond Green being on the older end of his career.
Mm.
But both of them are going to go down easily as some of the greatest defenders to ever
Yeah.
play on a court. I mean, the way that Draymond has been able to defend all positions as an undersized four is phenomenal. He's one of the best interceptors in the game. He can disrupt any offense. And then Gobert is just there's just I don't know, there's a whole I love watching like Gobert propaganda videos. There's like the math to how Gobert defends and I mean he's just truly he's a genius on the defensive end and it's a shame how much we take it for granted because like just look at the numbers of like the Jazz. The Jazz are the worst defense in the league right now, and for years they were top five
I
under
know.
Gobert, and now the Wolves have top five defense under
Dude, they
Gobert,
had a
and they
nice
used to be
team.
horrible on
They
defense.
really had a nice team with him and Mitchell, and there's another guy too that was along with him, and I can't think of his
Conley,
name.
dude, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
Jazz
yeah,
team. You
yeah.
had
Yeah.
Conley, Mitchell, Gobert. You had Joe Ingles off the bench. You had
Yep.
Royce
That
O'Neal.
that's who I was
Dude,
thinking
that
of.
was a squad. I would have loved to see them win.
Yeah, or at least, and I'm pretty sure they made the conference finals. I'm pretty sure they did one time with that team.
I think they made the semi because I know that was the year that they went to game seven. Their best year was when they went to game seven with Denver in round one.
Gotcha.
But Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell exchanged 50-point games.
I don't know what made me think that
And
too. Did you see where Conley got traded twice?
yeah, I don't, he was on the Bulls. I don't know where he went. Did he end up on
I
the Bulls?
No, I think he went. I think he was part of the Charlotte trade. He
He
went
might have been.
somewhere
I'm not
else,
sure. I know he got
but
traded to the Bulls and then he might have gotten traded again.
yeah, he did. I know he got traded twice. I think. But what's funny, and I'm gonna say on this is probably my favorite like team of all time is him, Marc Gasol, whatever Jefferson. I can't think of his
Tony
name.
Allen, Zach
Yeah,
Randolph, the
Allen.
grit and
There we
grind.
go. Yeah,
Yeah, the
like
grit and
dude.
grind Grizzlies.
Yeah, that was an amazing team, and that was a team full of just hard nosed guys. It was fun. That was a fun team to
Yeah. Rudy
watch.
Gay was there, wasn't he?
Yep.
At
Yep.
one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was his peak was on the grit grind. Yeah, that was a phenomenal that was the best we've seen the Grizzlies. I mean, granted that's yeah, I mean that's probably the best Grizzlies team there ever was. I mean, the Grizzlies aren't really a
Yeah.
prolific team success
Between
wise,
that and
but
probably like the early Paul Gasol days, but they
yeah.
had they had
Yeah.
him and Bibby, I think.
Yeah, I think so. A little before me, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A little. Yeah. Same. All
I
right.
only know old Spurs lore.
And then we'll take off of this too. Like we said earlier, I think I'm Batingo, whatever Giannis. Um, I know he didn't get traded today, and we talked about how Shams is going to get traded off that team, of his celebrity team.
Yeah.
Um, and
They need to trade
but
Doc Rivers,
God, I think Doc needs to
whatever
freaking
he's worth.
retire. Doc needs to retire. That's just simple as that. He's getting more, just more. Uh, it's it's hard to give him some gratitude, but I think that it's not that he's not happy. It's just that he has high expectations, and he's had opportunities to go somewhere else. But here's the thing that I just don't understand. Like, where is he going to excel other places with other superstars? Like, it's just something I just don't understand. Like, he has his own thing there. That's his own baby. And, like, players come to him to play off of him. And that's the thing, too, I think like, others don't understand is, like, the guys that he was supposed to have just aren't there. Like, Damian Lillard was supposed to be there with him, and he's freaking injured. He's done for. He's handicapped, for his sakes. And, you know, there's the guys when he was doing good and everything. They had a couple 3-pointers. They had some other guys that could drive in, pull up on the the mid area and everything. And I mean that's when freaking Middleton had another leg able to use. And then they had I'm trying to think of that one white guy. I can't remember, but I'm
There's a couple white guys on the Bucks. Pat Connaughton,
yeah.
the
Thank
one
you,
that was in the
him.
dunk contest. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bucks
him, and
legend.
then now did McDermott or somebody play for them too like that? That was really good. I know Allen played well with them on the. I think Grayson Allen played with
He
them and
might
won
have.
and
I
won the
don't remember. Grayson
championship
Allen
there.
was on the Bucks. Yes. I don't remember Doug McDermott. He might have. I know Doug McDermott was on the Spurs recently, but I
Yeah,
know he's not there
he's been
now.
around. So, but no, it's just crazy that the NBA trade deadline, like you said, it was crazy. It was massive. It was something people just weren't expecting to come out of nowhere. Like people were just say, "Here, take this trade, please," and that's what I was saying earlier. You were bringing up your Spurs, and I was telling you how the story of I went to a pawn shop to look for a saw, but I came out with NBA 2K25, and when I played the GM part of it, and where I've played the GM, the last 2 seasons, the Spurs have been in the championship and they've won both times. So that just tells you what they're doing down there and what kind of like in the future that game at the time believed what they were made of is that.
Yeah. I'm not super upset we didn't make any major moves. I think they are best to just run with what they have, see how it works. I think the really only main weakness the Spurs have is we really do need to add some. We need to add some depth to the four. Harrison Barnes started the year like really good, but he's been kind of on a downslope and has recently plateaued. And while Barnes is not a bad forward by any means, he has aged really well.
Yeah.
He does not need to be a starting four, and Champagny is a little undersized for a four. He works much better at the three. So I think we're just like one slightly like above average power forward away from being a solid
And there might
contender.
be somebody gets
Um,
picked up in the cycle where they kind of buy players contracts out and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they could have a veteran at that position. I think it'd be smarter, of course, to get someone more fit the timeline. But I don't know. Like you could stick someone like yeah, he was also traded, like the Nick Richards of the world, or I don't know, like the Miles Bridges of the world. Like they just need like one of those fours that are like not an all-star level. That's not what I'm asking, but like someone right under it. Trey Murphy. I think Trey Murphy would be a phenomenal Spur
Yeah.
and would fit right into that system. But yeah, I mean, other than that, though, I think the Spurs are a
And
really
even
good
before he
roster.
got to the Spurs, I've always been a big fan of Fox. Even when he was at Kentucky, I really liked
Absolutely,
him.
yeah,
So
yeah, he's been good. He's a little inconsistent sometimes, but I think in general he's been a really good pickup for Spurs.
yeah, for sure. So I'll move on to football. That was a fun time on the NBA. And like I said, that's more your genre. That's more your hoorah of what you know. And you have a fantasy league that you suck at sometimes at, or most of the time.
I got a positive record now. I
There we
actually have the
go.
longest standing winning record or streak in the moment. I'm
There
in
we
the playoffs
go.
now. I'll probably
Uh-oh.
be a first round exit, but I'm gonna get my money back that I paid. So
That's fine. That's what it's worth. You get the money back, you be okay.
yeah.
So
And I
again,
also the final pick of the draft, I got Con Canavati, whatever his name is, Con from Charlotte. So he'll
oh
be a
okay.
keeper for my next season.
Oh, the rookie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
from
Khan,
from Duke.
Sar, Keontae George, and Zion as my keepers now.
I know something else I was going to bring up about like the Mavericks thing and all that too. Just like we said earlier, like the whole Luca trade is now what all these players are getting picked up from Davis with
Chris
the
Middleton, some role
yeah
players. Yeah,
yeah
that
and
was the
and
return.
and like I told you earlier, I saw like a stat where Luca has 30 has like a 30 he has 30 point games this year, and Davis has only played in 30 games this year. So just wild and crazy. I mean, dude, and I've seen all those memes where like he's in an ambulance constantly, or they say his body's made of glass. I mean, it just sucks that he's like that. But still,
Yeah, it does. I like the memes where it shows that like it says like Anthony Davis is out after signing contract. He broke his wrist for 4 to 6 weeks.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
but it is sad because when AD is healthy and he can get on a roll, he is truly one of the most dominant um forwards that has ever played
absolutely.
the game. I mean, he is a monster on the offense and the defense. So hopefully it works out in Washington, whatever they plan on doing with him and Trey and Sar and all that. But yeah, hope him the best.
And he's always been dominant when there's a pick and roll movement. I mean, it's just how it simple is. But yeah, let's break the NFL. So again, Seattle and the Patriots. We talked about it earlier, and you know we were discussing just that. Like you brought up a great point that and I think a lot of other people do. A lot of the other news people think that it's going to be a very balanced game. It's not going to be like one sided. I think it's just going to get, and like I said earlier, I think it's going to get one sided when it gets down to the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. It's either going to Patriots going to go this way or the Seahawks are going to go this way. Um, and 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 I said this earlier. I think whoever gets a pick six is going to be the winner. I'm gonna and I'll bet on that. I mean, I if I can find that bet somewhere, I'm gonna make that bet. Not that whoever makes a pick six, but I think somebody, one of these teams is there's gonna be a pick six there. So, but I just think that it's just if there wasn't any other teams like the more not even popular, they're popular teams, but these are just really good stories. Like you have the Darnold story, and then you have the Vrabel story, and you have other. And then you have like how the defense is just that's what Seattle used to be for, and then they came around and now they're back at it with but more of the front line, not the back end with the safeties, the cornerbacks with the Sherman and the Cam Chancellors of the world. They still have some good cornerbacks and stuff, but man, that front line is amazing and it's dominating. And with Williams and I can't think of the other guy, um, and as a line, former lineman and a coaching line and everything, it's just awesome to watch what they've done. And Mike McDonald too, like he says this and about he doesn't do a lot of things like too crazy. He tries to keep it simple, but just do more things of the same thing simple wise. So I think that helps too. I think when you keep it simple, but you kind of spread it out to more stuff, it makes it a whole lot easier for you. But I think that I don't know. I mean, you and I talked about this earlier. Like we both think the Seahawks are going to win. Um, but I wouldn't be shocked that the Patriots pull it out either. Like that's my whole feel. That, like I said, it's going to be a 10 point swing between that third and fourth quarter. Um, I don't know why. It's just my gut feeling. But what do you think about this? What do you think that if you had to think about one play that not one play, but one thing that might change the game for both sides? What do you think it's probably going to be?
My theory is that this is going to be a very balanced. This is going to be anyone's game. I think it's going to be one of those games that they might just score consistently on and off. Towards the second half, I think eventually one team is going to break away
Yeah,
and get like an extra 2 touchdowns on the other one. I think it's going to come down to defense. I think yeah, like I think something like a pick six. I think there could be a major fumble. I could see like a sack or like the running back getting knocked down and fumbling the ball and then them
yeah,
running to the end zone on either side. I think something like that's really going to decide one of these games where they're just so even out in terms of manpower. Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those moments where something big and I don't want to say lucky, but yeah, basically something lucky might happen for one end. I mean,
Yeah,
I could see this going either way.
and
Yeah,
and
I
and
have
that's
it
how a
on
lot
six,
of the
honestly.
playoff games has been going. Like they've had that one lucky play to make them continue on. And the way you even thought about that, or I was thinking about that earlier. If Sam Darnold plays like how he did against the Rams on the Thursday night in the first half, I think the Patriots have enough offense to push up a little bit. Um, just, I mean, and we're past the time now, but Matthew Stafford did win MVP. Congratulations to him. I didn't know if you realized that or not yet, but he
That's
did win
great.
MVP.
I
Yeah,
was hoping he won against the Seahawks because I thought if Stafford won this year, that would have been amazing for his legacy.
I think he would have retired
I think
too.
we'd be talking a lot more about Stafford.
Yeah, and I think he would have retired. I really do. I wish he kind of would retire. I mean, my God, the man freaking got a trailer because his back was hurting, and voila, he's a new man. I mean, it's just insane. But I think that um, in his case too, it's just and going back to Darnold, I just I'm afraid for him, and it's sad because everybody loves his story. Like in all honesty, he should have been like another up for another comeback player of the year. Just because he played a whole much better year this year than he did last year for the Vikings somehow. And but I just got a feeling like if they do whatever they did against the Rams on that Thursday night football game, the first half, it's a Super Bowl, and I think it's going to be hard to come back from that in those moments. But if they do, bravo! Like absolutely, bravo if they do. But no, like you said, I think it's gonna be balanced. But I think I'm not gonna tell you my score. I can't even remember the score. I remember now. I think I said it's gonna be 27-17, and I'm probably way off on that. But I think that it's that they're gonna try to come back and maybe score in it, and they might make it 27-24, and they just never be able to score again.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with my 32-18. I think this
Yeah,
could be like a 20 something to 18 game come halftime, and then I think one of the teams are gonna run away with it, get the extra score, and then another one to put the nail in the coffin.
yeah, I agree. I mean that could easily happen too. Um, I it's just it's a weird game, and I think it's a weird game too for some betters. Because I really haven't heard a lot of like Vegas talk this week because I think they're really like unsure what's going to happen. I don't think a lot of them are confident in their picks, at least just from what I've seen off X and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just a volatile matchup. There's just not really a lot going on either side, a lot either way. I mean, this is really man power, 50-50.
Yeah,
This
I
could
mean,
really go either way, so
yeah, I mean
it's
they
hard to
both
bet on.
have yeah, and they both have good front lines. They both have good back ends. Um, it's gonna be interesting. What's gonna suck is like I feel like we said all this when it was Seattle and Denver, and then Seattle beat the crap out of Peyton Manning. And that's my biggest fear. That was like one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life, and it was horrible. I hated it, and it was. I'm pretty sure I went home in the third quarter after the halftime show. So, and hey, Bad Bunny is going to be performing. I mean, what a time to be alive
What a
to hear
time to be
Bad
alive.
Bunny
To hear
at,
Bad
at
Bunny.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too familiar with Bad Bunny. I noticed he was the album of the year. I think it was album of the year. He just got a Grammy for. So, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, at least this will introduce me to Bad Bunny. I'm not very keen on Puerto Rican culture or the music, so
Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah. Something there.
I don't know, but did your mic mess up just
Did
now?
you make mess up with that? Oh, I'm not sure. Did it?
It sounds like pick up on aisle four, Mike.
Do I sound better?
Yeah, but it was like making a beeping noise for some reason, and I don't know why.
No, I don't know.
But that was weird. Okay, remember, folks, it's still unscripted, unedited, and so. But we're almost to the we've actually went over the 31 minute that we were at. We're at 32, but um, I know it's late. I appreciate you tagging in on
Oh, it's
this,
no problem.
and
I'm a night out.
I know you are. You are. And then you take your little nappy naps for lunch. Um, but no, we're gonna add another aspect to talk about the NFL. But even for 4-2, and that's the thing too. And I was gonna bring up earlier. The draft is in Pittsburgh this year, and dude, that game I went to, like we tried to like see the stuff and everything where it might be. I think it's gonna work in Pittsburgh. It's gonna look pretty cool. Have you seen the preview of that? The where they're gonna put it all?
I have not. Where's it going in Pittsburgh?
So you know the casino side of the stadium, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's going to be all over there, and it's going to be, and they're going to try to connect it between the river and all that, kind of like how it had
That'd
it
be neat.
destroyed. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try to go to it. I think it'll be fun and interesting to see and everything. So, but
That'd be neat. I have a lot of stuff on my bucket list this year in terms of sporting events. I don't know if they're gonna happen, but
yeah.
my goal is to go to NBA or a hockey game
Did you go to
this
hockey
year.
last
We'll see
year?
what happens. I
Did you
didn't.
go?
I came close.
I couldn't remember or not.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
be
looking
going.
at Blue Jackets games.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Now I'm gonna go up to the Wheelers next week, possibly. So the Wheeling
Oh, the
Wheelers.
Wheeling Nailers?
You're Nailers? I thought they were the Wheelers.
No, they're the Nailers. It's like a
Oh,
hockey match with a duel. Yeah, because they're rail spikes.
okay.
I've thought about it. I don't know when we'll do it. My wife's not too excited to go to a
No.
hockey game, so
Yeah, too
but
cold.
yeah, it's on the bucket list this year.
That and you can get some of that square pizza from whatever that place is called from like last time.
That's what I told her. Yeah, with the cold cheese on top,
Yeah,
cheese
yeah,
melt onto the pizza. This stuff's awesome. Tastes
yeah,
a mess, but
yeah. It was delicious for what the price was, and they just opened that literally like 5 minutes before we got there. So
yeah, Wheeling's cute. I like Wheeling.
yeah, I talked to a lady the other day because I'm like I said I'm going up there next week, and I was like it gives me a vibe of Charleston and Morgantown had a baby.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
I really like it. Growing up in Pittsburgh, there's a lot of Pittsburgh influence in Wheeling
yeah, of
and
course. Yeah,
Morgantown.
yeah. So. All right, man. Well, let's get off here. This is late. People are going to realize that it is late and the podcast is going to be uploaded soon. I appreciate being on the first episode. It's going to be interesting.
No, no
Like I said,
problem. Thanks for
I
having
got
me.
some other life or other segments like the Brewin Thoughts. That's what we talked about last. Yes, we did talk about the McDonald's thing. And you asked that as one of the thoughts of Brewing Thoughts of that segment. And like I said, the best McDonald's in Charleston is whatever best entertainment that you're getting from a crackhead is the one you should go to. But no matter what, each McDonald's in the Charleston area can provide you a great McDouble with extra pickle and a hot, nice, spicy Sprite. So, but you were referencing earlier Dunbar and how that one's so lovely.
Yeah, the Dunbar one's awesome. I got stuck there for like 45 minutes once waiting for a pickup order, but they just never started it. It was so long because it was when the one Grinch meal came out, and then when I finally
Uh,
got it, I only got half my order. So at that rate, I just gave up and like got half my refund. Or I think the whole thing got refunded. I don't remember. This was back
did you get at least the
right before
socks?
Christmas. No, I didn't get stuck. I didn't get the Grinch meal. I don't remember what I got. It was my wife's order, but yeah, it was quite the time.
Dedicated.
I feel like I really was. I lived in Dunbar at the time, so
Yeah.
I was a member of the Dunbar culture, but I felt really into the Dunbar society in those 45
Yeah, that's about 35. I would have not waited.
minutes.
Yeah.
Builds character.
Dedication.
I love
Oh, yeah,
that.
it built character, all right. Built you some extra hair on the chin to say, "Hey, where's my food at?" Did
Yeah,
it, did
I asked
like did
four
like
times.
did like more people just keep passing by and getting their food?
Yeah, yeah, I was.
Well, heck, no wonder that was a hot
I
topic for
don't
you
even
to
remember
ask.
what their reason was. I really don't remember what the exact reason was, but yeah, it took them forever. Then I eventually got it. It wasn't even correct. It was tough, but we're not in Dunbar anymore, so
Yeah, congrats again on that. That's awesome. So,
no
yeah.
hate to Dunbar.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
don't don't feel bad if you move to Delmar. It's an all right
yeah.
area. The
He's
moving
saying,
to Kroger, that's gonna suck.
yeah. But hey, I just saw. I have a good friend of mine. He is a part of the engineering group that's putting like building it all together and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
he took a video of it yesterday. He puts it on his Snapchat stories, and they have the shelving up, not up, but it was in there. And I mean,
In the
it,
Park Place one, the
yeah,
Mega Kroger.
yeah, they had the shelving in there and stuff. So it looks weird looking like that, like just the shelving there. It kind of looks like a I don't know, like a future thing, like oh, it's just shelving with nothing else on it. I don't know, but it looked different. Just like I can't remember who I was talking to, but they're like, why in the world would they put a Kroger in South Charleston, West Virginia, and it's supposed to be the biggest one in the world, like or not world, but on the East Coast, like it just why there? Why not?
Yeah, that's a good question. Then again, I don't know. I mean, at what point we had the largest mall on the East
Yeah,
Coast in
yeah.
Charleston,
I
West
mean,
Virginia.
yeah, and that's a whole other conversation to talk about with a bunch of other whole other people. On that
Yeah.
one.
Well, you save an episode for that. I'll gladly discuss the mall and my
Yeah,
thoughts on that.
yeah, we'll get a bunch of people on that. They would love to talk about that and get more opinionated. Dude, like people look. I mean, that was literally the highlight of some people's Christmas was going there
Yeah.
and like shopping and
I went to the
enjoying
mall all
time
the
there.
time.
Yeah, same. I mean, my one of my best buds, LJ, we would go to that mall constantly. I mean, absolutely constantly growing up. It's just a thing we enjoyed and did, and we'd walk around and shout out to the guy the guy that looked like oh he had the swords and stuff in his from what was his name?
Blade. He
Blade.
told
Thank
me his
you.
name was Jaguar later, but yeah,
Yes,
Blade. Yeah,
yes,
Charleston legend.
yes. I think you and I
Respect,
saw him
respect.
one. I think you and I saw him one day when we were out.
I think we did. Yeah, I spoke to him before. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, but we like our life goal every time we went there was to go find that guy. Hopefully he was coming there, just so we try to get a picture with him or something at the time.
He's
So
like our we're different generations technically, but he's like our version of Aqualung.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
He's our Charleston legend.
Yeah, Jesus. So, all right, man. Have a good night. This is the segment of where we talk about sports, and we took it to the little bit of a west side of Blade, the Charleston Blade, and what McDonald's you need to get an extra spicy Sprite at. So, all right, this is Devin. This is Coach Mike. We're out. Peace.
Good night.
So I have one more part of the show that I wanted to say for last. And if you noticed anything in my introduction, part of the podcast, the background was Homecoming by Kanye West. It was just the instrumental part. And I'm hoping a lot of my friends watch this, or have watched this as you're at the end, and that I dedicate that beginning to no other than, and will continue for the rest of my show, unless somehow I get legal out of it and I have to pay for to use it or something. Then I'll figure out a way how to do that just for that. If it gets that big, then yeah, we'll definitely figure it out. But hey, this is just going to be a safe place to chat, safe place to have a podcast, safe place to get people on to share opinions and what they want to say, share all their thoughts and feelings and whatever. Sports, real talk, situations, life situations, all that stuff. But that beginning song is for our dear friend, my dear friend, family friend, miss him and I love him, Chase Bird Dog Gore. He was a one of a kind. Without getting too into it, I think I'll get more emotional talking about it. But he's missed. I missed his birthday texts. I missed the Christmases and the Halloweens. I missed the Happy Easters. And I definitely missed those random no creatures creeping. And I could be saying that wrong because it's been so long since I've seen one. if you don't know his story, Chase is an older brother to two of my great friends that I graduated with, Jonathan and Brian Gore, and to the wonderful parents of Leanne and Charles Gore. He was 3 years older than me. He was a senior when we were freshmen, and he had autism. Never could you tell sometimes because of his enthusiasm, but most of all, that smile. That smile could light up a room that was dark instantly. Of just dark, he just knew how to make you smile. He just knew how to take everything, and he could tell that you're having a bad day. If he had a bad day, you know that wasn't going to be good either. That's for sure. But he had 2 rounds of cancer, and the last round just didn't go so well. And as they say, the Lord had better plans for him, and that's perfectly okay. Sometimes we'll never know why. That's not the question we should ask, but sometimes we do ask why. I know I have in other situations in my life. But I know that his why down here was to make people happy, to make people appreciate and love other people, to never see who they are and what they are, to just treat them like a human being. And he did that constantly all the time. He made tons of relationships while he was down here on this earth. And as the song is Homecoming, there will be another homecoming one day, I think, when we all get to see him. That's for sure. So I'm going to dedicate the intro to my song, or to my, not my song, but to my podcast to him. So each time you watch this podcast and you hear that song, think of Chase. Think of Bird Dog. And that's a whole other story to be called why he was called Bird Dog. He was our football manager in high school. It was an honor for him. He appreciated every single game that he did and that he went to. And he was passionate for that. The funny thing, too, and I'll get off here, and I'm going to kind of put 2 and 2 hand to hand. He knew everywhere to go. He was a absolute walking map. So the thing I must say this is that he's always a map. He always was. He was a big old smile. So smile out, map out. Meaning, anywhere you go, put a smile on somebody's face. And that's what he always did. So I thought I'd end my podcast with that. Always remember, be somebody that somebody needed today. You may never know when somebody needs that smile. It could be a stranger, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, it could be somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, and you feel like something in your gut, something's going on with them, and you're probably right. Reach out to them. They might need that smile, that hello, how are you doing? To anybody. The person you haven't talked to in a while, or that told you earlier, like that random stranger. Again, be somebody that somebody needs today. Coach Mike out. See you next week.